Day. Sorry, I'm using the wrong mic. It's good to see you this morning. My name is Melinda Sparks Renner. Whether you're joining us in person or online, we're so glad you're here with us. If you're a first-time guest, we have a gift for you out on this little table right outside the door to my right with a little coffee cup and some candy, as if you didn't have enough candy already from Halloween. And we are glad that you were here. Something you should know about Imago Day is that we believe everyone is created in the image of God, the Imago Day. We strive for equality across the spectrums of gender, LGBTQIA+, and race, and how they intersect. I also, right out the gate this morning, I want to offer a disclaimer for today's service. We are going to have a conversation this morning with a mental health expert on addiction, and you're going to hear a couple of stories from people who are a part of Imago Day and their struggle with addiction. And so if that might be something that's uncomfortable for you this morning, no judgment, slip out, whatever you need to do. We just want you to take care of you if this is a difficult morning for that conversation. Will you join us in worship this morning?
Free to sing along and stuff too. So we're not plugged in or anything. So you may open up your mouth and sing and hear your own voice. And don't let that shock you. Just keep singing. right. I picked out this next song. I grew up playing a lot of bluegrass music, and we used to sing this song a lot. And this is an old song, like 1800s type song. And I don't know if we've ever sung it here or not. It's got old words, it's got old meanings and stuff. But it kind of spoke to me this week. I thought it was cool. And I think it's a little bit like N.T. Wright, I heard him say about God putting the world to right. So I thought of this one. Tempted to say, tempted and tried, we're oft made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long. All the others living about us never get troubled, though in the wrong. The farther along we'll know all about it. The farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. When death has come and taken our loved ones, it leaves our home so lonely and drear. Then do we wonder why others prosper, living so wicked year after year. Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Let's sing the chorus. Farther along we'll know all about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Yes, we'll understand it all by and by. Great singing, everybody. So let's, we could send the kids to Godly Play now.
Ages 4th through 5th grade.
It's a seamless presentation. If you've ever been to Branson, this is about what you get.
Oh, we are now going into our 7-minute reading time. So feel free to do that.
We do have a couple of announcements that I want to bring to your attention. A couple of ministry opportunities. I put these in the bulletin. Lula, who works with our unsheltered friends in this area, they are looking for women's hats, men and women's hats, gloves, and socks. So there's a box right outside the door, so if you think to pick up some this week and want to throw it in that box, that would be great. Maud Sanders, the local school that we help support, reached out to me this week about their food pantry. They need some non-perishables and bread, no canned vegetables because they say nobody takes them. Okay. Fair enough. And we will post some more about that this week. Brian has got something he wants to share, and then Lisa's going to share something.
Good morning. We were originally going to start our Widening God's Mercy book club today, and then we realized in real life with the potluck and everything else happening, there was just too much happening in one day. So we are more concerned about you guys than we are about our schedule. So we're going to start this next week instead. So again, the book is The Widening of God's Mercy by Richard Hayes. We're going to talk about the first 3 chapters next week. So a couple of you said, oh, I almost got to the end of chapter 2. So perfect. You can finish up and then come join us next week. That might include some of us who are leading the section too. So anyway, the whole theme of this book is seeing how God's arc of love expands and expands and expands and expands throughout Scripture to include more and more and more and more people. And it's a beautiful way to look at that. It does deal with the issue of sexuality and sexual identity, but it does it in a way that's incorporating all of Scripture and a bigger story. So it's not just this one verse is really stupid that you sometimes see in these discussions, right? So again, it's a great place to anchor your own belief on this issue. For a lot of us, we felt like it wasn't true and didn't make sense, that God did not want to include the whole spectrum of people. We didn't always know how to articulate that or how the Bible could help us in that discussion. This book does a really nice job of incorporating all those things. So we will start next week. It'll be at 11:15 after the service. Even if you have not had a chance to read the book, still come and join us. The discussion will still be good. But as always, you will get so much more out of this if you have actually read the book, because he says so much more beautifully than I would be able to recap for you this whole issue. So again, we're going to start next week. Thanks for your patience as we are flexible with our schedule, and we hope that you can join us next week.
Okay, so I am serving in the nursery, so I'll make this real quick. So one of the things that we mentioned on Vision Sunday was that we want to make efforts to make sure that we keep our kids safe while they're here at church. So in the spirit of keeping kids safe, we're going to implement a new policy starting today that during the church service time, all kids need to be supervised by an adult. So that means during service, we offer a nursery for kids ages 3 and under. We have godly play, usually during service for kids ages 4 through 2nd grade. Today it's combined all together. And then for kids in 3rd grade up through high school, we're asking that those kids be supervised by an adult during the service. So kids are always welcome to sit in the church, in the sanctuary. If they're in another room of the church, they must be supervised by an adult. And the person doing security, who's usually Joel, is happy to help any unsupervised kids find their adult. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the leadership team or Melinda. I'm sure we're all happy to talk to you. Okay, thanks.
Okay, my name is Carrie. My pronouns are she, her. I'll be reading Isaiah 58, 6 through 12. This is the kind of fast day I'm after, to break the chains of injustice, get rid of exploitation in the workplace, free the oppressed, cancel debts. What I'm interested in seeing you do is sharing your food with the hungry, inviting the homeless poor into your homes, putting clothes on the shivering, ill-clad, being available to your own families. Do this, and the lights will turn on, and your lives will turn around at once. Your righteousness will pave your way. The God of glory will secure your passage. Then, when you pray, God will answer. You'll call out for help, and I'll say, here I am. If you get rid of unfair practices, quit blaming victims, quit gossiping about other people's sins, if you're generous with the hungry and start giving yourselves to the down and out, your lives will begin to glow in the darkness. Your shadowed lives will be bathed in sunlight. I will always show you where to go. I'll give you a full life in the emptiest of places, firm muscles, strong bones. You'll be like a well-watered garden, a gurgling spring that never runs dry. You'll use the old rubble of past lives to build anew, rebuild the foundations from out of your past. You'll be known as those who can fix anything, restore old ruins, rebuild and renovate, make the community livable again.
So the reason I asked Carrie to read that scripture is because as we're talking about addiction this morning, it is a reminder to us that this is what we are called to do in Isaiah 58. This is who we are called to be, and this is the work that we are called to do. We really are supposed to make lives better for other people. We really are supposed to help bear the burdens. We really are supposed to help carry the load. We really are. Our job is not to fight a culture war. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. This is our job. This is our mission. This is what brings about the kingdom of God here and now. I was raised to believe it was then and there. I no longer really believe that. I believe it's here. We are called to the work here to make lives better for other people, not make them harder, to try to understand their situations and their context, their addictions, their stories. We are called to this hard work, but we are called to it. And so that's our challenge for all of us today. Renee, if you'll come. And I just realized I did not read the prayers aloud. I'm sorry about that. But they will get to the prayer team. All right. Renee, you tell us a little bit about yourself again.
So for those of you who are hearing this for the second time because you were here last week, I apologize, but I'm a therapist. I've been in practice for almost 20 years. I work at OSF's trauma recovery program and work with people who have been impacted by violent crime in some way, some fashion. And the other part of the week, I work in private practice for myself. I am not an addictions expert. My knowledge about addictions is very much on a general level, but I'll try to bring a little bit of what I know here.
I've got a couple of questions for you. How prevalent is addiction, and how often is this a part of our stories?
So just some basic statistics. People who in 2024 experienced any type of substance abuse disorder or addiction was about 16.8%. So that should give you a sense of how many in the room are either impacted themselves or know somebody in their close circle who are. That includes any type of alcohol or substance. And then there's an additional level of process addictions that exist, so people who are addicted to food or gambling or sex or other things. That number is unknown, but it probably is in addition to that 16.8%.
And what is the relationship between mental health struggles and addiction?
So there's a pretty strong relationship. Everyone who was here last week hopefully took that in and knows that a lot of what people deal with on a mental health struggle-wise can funnel into an addiction. The studies are kind of varied, but it's anywhere from about a third to about a half of people who have an addiction that they're dealing with also have a mental health diagnosis. I would add from my own personal experience that trauma would, even if it's not identified as a specific mental health diagnosis, would probably make up a lot of the rest of it. Maybe 90-95% of the people that I've worked with that have addiction have either trauma or mental health of some kind in their past that is sort of fueling it. So it's a complicated thing. It's not one of those things that is very simple. one of the studies that I wanted to bring up, just to, if you weren't aware of it yet, back in the late 70s and 80s, there was a researcher who did a rat study. We do terrible things to animals. I apologize if this is going to bother anybody. But he took a group of rats and put two different groups. Well, there was 4 groups, but for simplification of this, I'm just going to tell you about 2 of them. One group was just kind of isolated, and they had 2 sources of water. They had plain water, and they had water laced with an opiate. And they pretty predictably just drank the water that was laced with the opiate off into their own demise. The other group of rats were placed in community with lots of different other rats. Both genders were there, so they could mate. They had activities to do, and they also had access to both the plain water and the water laced with an opiate. And they did use the water that was laced with the opiate a little bit, but not anywhere near to the degree that they used the plain water. And what this has led some people to sort of conclude is that addiction's opposite is not necessarily sobriety, but it might be more something like connection. And the connection in our community is something that we're trying to accomplish here at this church. But I did want to say a couple words to people. If you have addiction in your life, and you're thinking about, oh no, well, am I making this person feel like that rat who's in a cage by itself? If you are, that's between you and God. My job is not here to judge about that. But if it's not that, and sometimes that's not what it is, if it's not that, is that people's trauma or their mental health concerns can make them feel disconnected from the world. And so even though they have people that love them in their life, they still, because of what's going on in their own brain, make them feel disconnected. So the healing process is about community, but it's also about the treatment for the underlying things that drive addiction. And I think that we'll probably hear some of that in the stories we're going to hear today.
I ask Heather and Doug to come. They're going to share their story.
Hi guys, and thank you so much for coming up here. We appreciate your willingness to share. Our first question for you is, what is your story about how your addiction began?
My addiction, I feel like it was learned at an early age. I watched family members using certain substances, and specifically opiates and cocaine. I watched it. It was normal to see, and then when I became old enough to take those substances, in my mind, I did. I enjoyed them, and it led to the next substance each time.
Thank you. If you feel like you want to pass on any, please feel free.
Okay. I had quite the opposite experience growing up. Both of my parents were married. Would have been if my dad hadn't passed away. Grew up in a home where there was no addiction prevalence, alcohol or drugs. We went to church. We had things that we needed. It just was something that I didn't try, and I wanted to because I became an adult, I thought, and the other kids were doing it. So I didn't try anything that was a Schedule I narcotic until I was 21, and it was fun, I thought at first. I just did it to party and fit in, if you will, and before you know it, I was, fast forward 15 years, and I am homeless and shooting up in every dark place that I could find, so.
Okay. Was there ever a point in your journey where you said, I have to get clean or sober, or there's not going to be any more of me, and I don't want to die, so I need to do something?
Yeah, we've said that a lot over the couple years that we were together outside, and we said it to each other every time that one of us would miss our shot, and it would cause big lumps on our arms, pain, like a lot of pain, and we'd look at each other crying, and I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this to myself, and brought us to tears every time, But we didn't do nothing about it until we did.
I pretty much have the same answer for that, except for I think the risk of law enforcement being present so much in our lives, running from warrants. As a woman being unsheltered, I always had Doug to make sure that I was okay. When he would get arrested and go to jail for any period of time, it put me at higher risk. I was alone on the streets in Peoria by myself. I was getting drugs from people who I knew and some that I didn't know, and it just, you run a greater risk when you don't have your person. The police being very present in our lives that couple weeks before we went to treatment, I think really helped us. We gotta get out of here and we gotta do something different.
What helps you to stay sober today?
Yeah. For me, it's walking alongside of people who are still in active addiction. It's a good reminder of where I used to be, and where I don't see room in my life for me personally to be there anymore. But nothing makes me stronger in my recovery than helping somebody else find a way out. I know how good it is on the other side. And I had that person, I had those people. Some of them are here in the room with me today, but I had those people walk alongside of me, judgment-free, and I'm here, and all they really did was they continued showing up and providing non-judgmental support. I'm here for you and I love you. And when the day came that we were ready to go, they were there. And I think that for me, now I'm that person for people. And I get up in the morning and I probably look crazy for the whole day because I don't brush my hair every day and I don't put on dress pants every day. I get in the van and I come here and I get the lunches that are made for my friends and get the hot hands and sleeping bags, and I visit about 100, 120 people every day, and they're so excited to see me, and I think that that's what helps me. I have a purpose, I know the way out, and when you're ready, I'm here to help you get there.
That's beautiful. Thank you. What should people, oh, sorry, Doug, you didn't get your. What helps you stay sober today?
Okay, so being able to maintain a schedule, being able to be at work on time, being able to create music. My mom lives with me now, like being able to have time with her in a different setting than what we're used to, The last time me and my mom hung out before this spell, I was in active addiction, stealing everything that I could from her and everybody around me. And I don't want to be that person again. I don't want to be the person that takes from people or has ill will towards people because I'm not doing okay that day. I don't ever want to be that person again. I don't want to be the person that hands another person drugs and says, "Here you go, I got you," because that happened to me so many times, and I thought it was a good thing, but in reality, it was a horrible thing. All the people that said that they had me, or they had my back in active addiction, were liars. Like, they didn't know it, though, and I didn't know it. The only people that really had my back in active addiction was Heather, my mom, and I'd steal from my mom. And being with Heather, I would steal from other people so that we were okay. It didn't matter at the end of the day, like, we had to go fly a sign to get food, and now we don't have to do that. We had to fly a sign just to get dry socks sometimes because we had missed Casey, and 3 days, was a long time to go with wet socks. So we'd had to go out and fly a sign to get batteries for our flashlights because in the woods it was dark, and I don't ever want to have to go back to any of those things.
What should people know and do when someone they love is struggling with an addiction?
think the most important thing to remember, that they are people. They're not problems. They're people who have problems. They're somebody's children, somebody's mom, somebody's dad. And that nobody chooses to be an addict of any kind. I know that I didn't choose that, and I don't think I really knew that I was until I was shooting up in a stairwell. The best way to help somebody in addiction is to educate yourself. And I mean, reading it online or asking somebody who's a professional about it to help you learn about it is a great way. Call me, come on outreach with me. Just educate yourself, I think, about the disease that your person specifically is struggling with. Make sure that good boundaries are in place. I know that it's hard when it's your person or someone that you're really close to who is still struggling with addiction, to setting healthy boundaries, like, nope, you can't come and hang out at my house, but we can go to the park, or we can go to the car, we can go ride in the car or whatever. But I think that it's just important to remember that they didn't choose what they're going through. And they're not going to get better until they are ready. We all want like when I got sober, I wanted everyone, like, this is the coolest thing. I want everybody to get sober. But it took me some time to realize that until that person is ready to make that change in their life, it's not gonna stick. And having somebody or some people, community, to support them until that day comes is super important for them.
I would say, guard your children, and if you are doing something, make sure they don't see it or they're not around it. That's a big thing. And if you do know somebody that's struggling, my first recommendation is to call the detox facility and ask them some questions. If it's not an opiate thing or an alcohol thing, you can call a treatment for any one of those, anything. But alcohol and benzos, you need to go to detox. And opiates. You have to go through detox, so you need to know that before you can help somebody, because if you just take them substances from those people, it could be critical. It could kill them. And if they're not in a safe environment or a safe setting with medicated staff or with staff and medication, it could kill them. But treatment is a really good option for any kind of substance, because they teach you how to cope with living the life that you used to live in a new light. So we went to Crossings Recovery Center, but we send a lot of people to Gateway now, just on the simple fact that they'll take anybody. You don't have to have insurance, they'll take you. And if you really want to help somebody, space and distance sometimes is the best things to do to help people in active addiction. You put space between you, and you give them some time to collect their thoughts, But don't just shun people, because that's the worst thing you could do. And if you don't hear from a family member in a while, here's another thing you guys should probably know. Reach out to them, find them. That's probably where they're at.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts today. Is anything that we didn't ask you about that you wanted to say?
I don't think so. Okay. Thanks for having us. I guess I'll just add, if anybody wants to talk to us today or ever, we are open books. We like to share about our life, and if you ever have any questions about us and our story, or about what we do, or anything, just feel free to come up and say, hey, you said I could come talk to you, and here I am.
I did have one more thing. Narcan. Narcan is, I'm alive today because of Narcan on multiple occasions. So Narcan is a opiate receptor blocker. It, when ingested into the body, like through the nose or through muscle tissue in the thigh or the butt or the arm, it goes through your body as your heart beats, you know? So if you find somebody that's unresponsive, the first thing you want to do is check for the pulse, right? And then if you think it may be an overdose situation, get the Narcan in them immediately, and then start pumping on their chest. Magic word.
We'll do Narcan trading for anybody that's interested. I have some in my car, I have some in the closet and back here, so if anyone wants any information about that or to know how to use it, see me.
Thank you so much, you guys, for sharing. We appreciate it. This is on. Test. Okay.
Can you hear me? Oh.
There you are. Excellent. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being with us, Terry. So I'm going to ask you the same questions I asked Heather and Doug. So the first one is, what is your story of how your addiction began?
That's a really good question. I was in many ways much more fortunate than Heather and Doug. I had a grandfather, I had 2 uncles that were alcoholics. I knew it ran in the family, but because I was an obnoxious little shit when I was in my teens, I just said, that's not me. I'm never going to go down that path. And I actually didn't until well into my 30s. And it's not as obvious a trigger, but it was roughly at the time. I began to drink not hard alcohol, but beer. And of course, this was like for about 20 years. I wouldn't have anything to drink until after 5 o'clock. But then, of course, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Here it is, right? So, and then I would always think it was kind of the yin and the yang to be drinking Diet Coke or Diet Mountain Dew in the morning. So it's like, okay, I drink this, and sometimes I drink 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just sort of compulsively. And then over time, I realized, okay, I'm probably the last person who needs caffeine in the morning or at any time. And then it started, yeah, somebody's not a morning person. So it was gradually, I think going through a separation divorce, there was a little bit of an increment. It wasn't at one time, it wasn't even over months, it was over several years. And that was much more insidious. And then when I was elected mayor, I would definitely drink more, and I started drinking hard alcohol. And when I, about almost 9 years ago, went into treatment the first time when I came out, I said, okay, I'm going to have a press conference and let everybody know, and everybody around me, including friends of mine in Washington, because I got my PhD in Washington, said, don't do that, okay? Because when you go out, you're always argumentative. You're trying to smash the far right. You're going to look like you're drunk. They'll just say, hey, you're always drunk. How can we do this? I said, okay. Well, I kind of want to beat the shit out of people in a way that's respectful, right? Rather than saying, oh gosh, he's just drunk. So that's one of the reasons why, right? I didn't have my press conference at whatever, but yeah, it definitely sneaks up on you. And the times, it was COVID where I started drinking again, but it wasn't weeks, it wasn't months, it was over several years. It was sort of a slow. And so I drink a little more and then maybe a little less, drink a little more, a little less, and then, I'm here, right? Over years. So hope that clarifies.
That's a great answer. Thank you. For you, was there a pivotal moment where you knew, if I keep going like this, I'm not going to be anymore, and I don't want that, so I gotta do something?
Right. I don't think I thought that I was going to die, but I don't think at that, maybe I was too narcissistic to think that I was going to die. But it was certainly that, okay, this shit can't keep going on, right? And probably the biggest was about a year and a half ago, where I had gone through in the rehab the second time, like 3 days, as opposed to, I don't know why it changed from 7, 8 years ago to when I did, it only took a little while for me then to start to drink, and I went kind of, and this was much more rapid the next time around. So I thought, I can't do this, right? I become dysfunctional. Right? So knowing that it was dysfunctional and doing things I never did before, like, well, the one thing that finally changed was like a real sledgehammer to the teeth was I was supposed to take Colby, Linda's oldest son, to the comic book convention this was a year ago, August. And I went and got something to drink, and I passed out in the car with my dogs. I had never done that. I mean, I wasn't driving, right? But I was at that would really be bad. But no, I was at I don't know, Circle K or whatever it might have been. And there was somebody in there who knew who I was and called the police. And so then I woke up in the ER. And that was like, okay, you can't do that. That's beyond horrible. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's good. What helps you stay sober today?
Well, the memory of that and the reality, and just it's not a life that anybody wants to live. Now, I was fortunate; I didn't have to worry. You know, I can understand the strength of an addiction, and some of the things that Heather and Doug have. Fortunately, I didn't. Mine wasn't quite as intense, but I wouldn't want to have that because I wouldn't trust myself. I wouldn't trust what would happen. So, absolutely, that keeps me sort of my mind in check. But I also know, unlike the first time, because I didn't drink for several years, and then it was very slow. Now I know it's slow and insidious, and it's going to happen. It's just a question of how long it's going to take before it to be unacceptable. And when I talk to my sons, to some degree the same thing that Melinda might say, it wasn't when I would have too much to drink, it was just that my snotty nature then became more snotty, right? I didn't do anything, it didn't hurt anybody, physically hurt anybody, but my kids would always say, yeah, we could tell you had too much to drink, because you were always annoying, but then you'd really be annoying. And there's a difference between really being annoying and then going so far where you're in your car and you had something to drink, and it isn't even noon, and you're out.
Sure. What should people know and do when someone they love is struggling with an addiction problem?
I saw that question, I thought, gosh, because Heather and Doug's stories different than mine would be, it depends on the human being, right? The thing that was most startling for me the first time is I had a primary care physician who I rarely saw her, but I think she was my primary care physician for like 20 years. I maybe saw her 5 times. But at one point she came in and she said, I think you're an alcoholic. Like, what'd you talk about this? I thought I knew what I drank, and then I went and thought, okay. The second time, there was no question, right? And for me, kind of as a social scientist, I was like a data point. And I think, oh, yeah, that's true. You fit in this sense, right? So you've got trauma that's affecting something, but then you've also got the genetic component. This can be a real serious issue. It's a real serious problem. And if you care about human beings, obviously the people that are around you love, but you can hurt other individuals who maybe you don't know very well. So if you want to be a net asset, I suspect, to the world, right? You definitely don't want to be involved in any kind of addiction. And one of the things that I found in going through some of the, like Alcoholics Anonymous, although after the first time around, I didn't find that to be as useful to me personally. But man, the horrible things that could have happened. And then I would tell this to other people, and sometimes in the first phases, they would think, oh, you're just doing that to say, hey, I'm not as bad as these people. That wasn't my point. My point was not that there's a caste system of level of addiction, but that it could be a lot worse. And the one guy I remember who was in AA years ago, he didn't drink, but he gambled. He lost his entire house and still had a $250,000 judgment against him. That's like really bad. Absolutely.
The way you
said it, Renee.
I was just going to ask if there's anything else that you wanted to add that I hadn't asked you.
There's all kinds of stuff, but Melinda would kill me if I go on too far, too long. But no, one of the main thing would be, I would say, and you can weigh in on this as someone who's a counselor, is that understanding every human being is in a different situation. And that surely there's going to be environmental as well as genetic components. Fortunately, I had enough money. I could always buy drinks. I didn't have to do anything, right? I mean, I could always feed my addiction. And it's hard for me to not see when they have, I don't know, some cheap crap alcohol on sale. I think $19.95, you could kill yourself with that, and maybe even your friends. It's really cheap to kill yourself and ruin yourself, when it's alcohol. I don't know if that helps.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you a lot. Melinda, you want to say some more things to us, right?
Add this to what Terry said, what I wanted him to say, but he wasn't obeying me. Some of the things that you went through as a child with your mother and her mental illness definitely was traumatic and left a mark on him that he didn't even realize that it did. And he would tell me and his son stories of what happened, and we would just be like, yeah, that's not okay. But it was just a story for him. So I would say probably one main thing that keeps you sober today is therapy, is you do visit a therapist on a regular basis. And that helps you with accountability and helps you dig into those things, that underlying thing. And yes, I just told on him, but that's okay. Yeah, okay. At this time, we're going to offer up communion. I'm going to have to move some things around, so bear with me. If you'd like to stand up, we will recite the Apostles' Creed together. We recite the Apostles' Creed when we do communion. You don't have to believe a word of it. You don't have to say any of it, but it is something that we do together, and we offer to say it with you too. We believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who is conceived of the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended to the dead. The third day he arose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven and sits at the right hand of God, the Father Almighty, whence he shall come to judge the living and the dead. We believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting. Amen. The way that we offer communion at Imago is we will have servers to come forward, if they will come forward now. And we will invite the congregation to come forward and receive from our servers. And I may need a couple of more servers because I think I forgot to do that this week. Good, thank you. All right, you may come and receive communion this morning.
As we go out this week, help us to remember the brave stories that we heard this morning and to know that we each hold our own brave story in our heart, a story that others are ready to hear. Embrace that for each other, embrace that for the people around us that we encounter this week, and go with God's love and grace as you do that important work. Go in grace and peace.